right, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It is finally Friday. Today, Jesus is laid in the tomb. It's a four-part parallel. Today we're in Matthew chapter 27, starting at verse 57. As evening approached, Joseph, a rich man from Arimathea, who had become a follower of Jesus, went to Pilate and asked for Jesus' body, and Pilate issued an order to release it to him. Joseph took the body and wrapped it in a long sheet of clean linen cloth. He placed it in his own new tomb, which had been carved out of a rock. Then he rolled a great stone across the entrance and left. Both Mary Magdalene and the other Mary were sitting across from the tomb and watching. Now the commentary. Joseph of Arimathea was a secret disciple of Jesus. He was a religious leader, an honored member of the High Council, which is in Mark 15, verse 43. Joseph courageously asked to take Jesus' body from the cross to bury it. The disciples who publicly followed Jesus had fled, but this Jewish leader who followed Jesus in secret came forward and did what was right. The tomb where Jesus was laid was probably a man-made cave cut out of one of the many limestone hills in the area. These caves were often large enough to walk into. The Sabbath began at sundown on Friday and ended at sundown on Saturday. Jesus died just a few hours before sundown on Friday. It was against Jewish law to do physical work or to travel on the Sabbath. It was also against Jewish law to let a dead body remain exposed overnight. Deuteronomy chapter 21, verse 23. Joseph came to bury Jesus' body before the Sabbath began. If Jesus had died on the Sabbath when Joseph was unavailable, his body would have been taken down by the Romans. Had the Romans taken Jesus' body, no Jews could have confirmed his death, and opponents could have disputed his resurrection. The other thing was too is obviously I'm not Jewish, so I don't really know law that specifically, but the commentary I heard was he was taking a huge risk at that because by touching a dead body, he was ceremonially unclean for the Sabbath, and it takes quite a bit to make yourself clean again, and I don't think he had quite enough time to make himself clean, because it was only a few hours before sundown, before the Sabbath, so I don't think he had enough time to do everything he had to do and make himself clean for the Sabbath and for the Passover.
Probably not.
So I think either he had an understanding that the law was already fulfilled in Christ, so it didn't matter to him anymore.
Right.
Or he just said, I'm just going to do this anyway and not celebrate the Sabbath. Or, I don't really know. Maybe it'll tell us, the commentary will tell us later about him, but I'm just knowing that especially if he was on the High Council, he made sure he followed every law to the letter.
Probably so.
And so he was maybe he did do it according to the law. I don't know, but I'm just saying I don't think he had quite enough time from what I understand.
It doesn't seem like he would have, because touching the dead body defiles you and makes you unclean ceremonially.
Yeah.
So I see your point on that, and I think you're probably right, but it doesn't tell us.
So he had to. I don't know if he said he got the body down. He just said he took the body. So I'm sure the Romans probably got the body down for him. But he still had to carry Jesus' body all the way to the tomb and then wrap it, and then put him in the tomb and then cover it up. So
the only thing I could think of for an alternative would be if he had servants to do it for him, but it doesn't mention that.
I'm sure if he was rich enough and he was part of the High Council, I'm sure he had servants, but it doesn't say that. It says he did it all by himself, which if he was a secret follower, he didn't want anybody broadcast. He didn't want to broadcast out to everybody that he was doing it either. His servants would have known that. So just very interesting.
It is interesting.
Got three more parts of this to read, and
of course it also said that whenever Jesus' body passed, that it was so awe-inspiring that even the Roman soldiers were acknowledging that this is God.
Yeah.
So he might have just said, this is more important than the ritual. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. And being the way it was, he got pierced, and so he had blood and water. I mean, he was a bloody mess just from being beaten and flogged, and then he got pierced. So, it's not like he could gently handle the body without getting it all over him.
No.
So he was taking quite a risk doing what he did, being a prominent, especially being on the high council. That in and of itself is amazing.
He could have gotten thrown off the council just for wanting to follow Jesus.
Yeah, that's true. That's why he had to do it secretly.
So,
but he was also, if he was on the high council, he was also part of the members that said crucify him.
Yeah.
So I don't know how he balances all that to be a secret follower of Jesus, but he was just probably going with his peers just because he was a secret.
It doesn't say.
It doesn't say that either, and we're just assuming that, but still, it's something to think about.
Yeah.
A great risk, no matter which way we cut it. It was a huge risk for him.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Hope everybody has a glorious day, and we'll talk to you later.